shorter.
Yeah.
Don't like it when the whole county is hunting their land. Local people don't really want to hunt with the goose anyway. It's just kind of dangerous.
All right, so it's a couple days later here, and I'm just about to get started raking actually, but I thought I'd tell you guys kind of what you saw in the last few clips. So our second cutting this year, by the way, this is second cutting. Our second cutting is not good this year. We didn't get very much rain, pretty much at all actually. So basically there just wasn't enough moisture to make the hay grow. So it's a very light crop. Because it was light, we wanted to try out a disc bind, because disc binds can cut a lot closer to the ground, and they cut a lot better too. So we've got a regular hay bind, which means it uses sickles. They just kind of move back and forth and cuts the grass. When the grass is really thin here, like here's a little patch that we missed. This is how tall the hay was. So the hay bind pretty much would have just plowed this over. There's the reel that will try and bring it in, but this stuff is just too short to try and grab onto with that reel. So it really wouldn't have cut it very good. So what you saw there was a disc bind. I believe it's about a 12 foot, which is bigger than ours. I believe ours is a 9 foot or close to that. So it cut a lot wider swaths basically, but it also cut a lot better and a lot closer to the ground. It basically gives the same result as if you cut it with a lawnmower pretty much, because the disc bind just has a bunch of spinning blades just like the lawnmower pretty much. So that's basically all that is. I do have the rake hooked up already. I am gonna need to lower it quite a bit, since the hay is so short. Want to get as close to the ground as we can without touching the ground. Start up the 40-30 here. We actually do still have one wagon full of hay from the first cutting yet. Our customer for the first cutting, her barn got full. She couldn't fit the next load into her barn, so we're just kind of waiting for her to tell us when she's ready. But we shouldn't need more than one wagon. Each wagon can hold about 100 bales, but I don't think we're gonna get that. So we'll have to see. So normally for second cutting, we will rake double windrows, which is where we take 2 passes and we put it into 1 row. I might try raking triple windrows today. I've never done that before. It shouldn't be too much different, but that'll just be where we take 3 windrows and combine it into 1 small one. So it's about 8 o'clock right now. I probably could have been out here a little earlier. We usually like to do this when there's a little bit of dew on the ground. It usually just rakes a little better. See, there's not much there though. A little bit. I might lower it down just a touch more. I don't want to be scraping the ground, but I don't want to be missing this. And I'm gonna be missing some. It's just gonna be how it is, but try and lower it here one turn. Should be good. Looks a little better. This is gonna be interesting. So I think while I'm raking right now, you guys should comment down below and take a guess on how many bales we're gonna get. It's a 7-acre field. Right there's a little spot we missed. That's about how thick it is. You can kind of see the windrows. It's a little thicker down towards the barns, but up on top of the hill there's practically nothing. So take your guesses down in the comments and we'll see who gets the closest. Alright, so the tractor's fairly low on fuel. Most likely I'd have enough to finish baling, but I'm not going to take the chance. So I'm going to drive the 4030 up to the second farm where the diesel tanks are and fill up with gas. So this stuff's pretty light and fluffy, so it's gonna pack pretty well. Yeah, it's not a ton there. I do need to move this up though, so I can reach it from the cab. And then if I need to, I can tighten these springs here. I have them really loose to start off with. And most likely I'll have to tighten these just a little bit, but I want to see how they feel first. Like this one isn't, that one's pretty good, but that one's also not one that I bailed today, so. Not sure how well the camera picks it up, but it is super dusty. And it really shouldn't be very dusty. So I ran into my first problem. The wagon's full, and I don't have another wagon right now, because like I was saying, the other wagon is full. I've got the rest of this pass, and I've got one more pass there, And then I've got a few spots to pick up where bales broke. I think I've got 5 or 6 bales laying around that missed the wagon. So yeah, the wagon is as full as I can get it. So yeah, we're gonna contact the customer for the first cutting hay and see if she can take it, and then we'll try to bring it over to her and hopefully get that other wagon by today. All right, so wagon's still full, but the customer we have for the first cutting of hay, apparently they're not around this weekend, so we're gonna actually bring up the flatbed, because we actually need to load up all that stuff on the flatbed anyway, because our second customer we have for second cutting is a bit further away, so we got to take it on the flatbed trailer and the truck. So he's hooking up the flatbed to the truck right now, and then he's gonna bring it over, and then we're gonna unload at least a lot of it for now, just so I can finish baling, and then I don't know if we're gonna finish loading up the rest tonight or not yet, but guess we'll have to find out and see. So not done baling yet, but I will say we've got way more bales than I expected. Before we cut, I was guessing around 60 bales, maybe 70. After we cut, or I should say after I raked, I kind of had a feeling it'd be a little more, but I still didn't think we would fill a wagon, so I was thinking more 80, maybe 90. But right now, so you gotta remember, I think 7, maybe even 8 of them broke. And right here's the counter. 138 bales. So we'll just say that's about 130 right now, and we still could get probably 10 to a dozen more. So the customer needs 50 bales. I don't think we're gonna get that. We might, I don't know, but and if we don't get it, which we were expecting not to anyway, we're gonna cut some stuff that we have at the second farm. We got a little bit behind the sheds and stuff there that we can cut. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how many we got. Or actually extremely happy. Now, on a normal year where we don't have a drought, we usually get 2 really full wagons. So we usually get just over 200, sometimes closer to 250 bales for second cutting. But this year, since it's a drought, that's why we got a lot less. But I think the one thing that helped this year is us cutting it with that disc vine. It cut a lot closer to the ground, so it pretty much gave a few inches more of that grass to bale up. And across 7 acres, that adds up. So definitely worth it. All right, guys, so it's a few days later here, and you can see I got the hay in the Quonset here behind me, and everything else, but we're not going to be able to deliver the hay for another week or so, just because the customer isn't quite ready for it. She has to get her barn cleaned out or whatever, so we got the trailer empty, and I am going to actually have a special surprise in the next video. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that one. Some of you guys may have already seen it, but yeah, anyway, guys, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.